Hello, everyone. Today, the four of us will talk about mental health and stress management and give some examples of skills that you can incorporate to help with daily stressors. Right here is a brief outline of some of the topics that we will cover today in this video. So, you may be wondering, what exactly is stress? Have you ever noticed your heart racing or your palms getting sweaty when there's a conflict at work or your muscles tensing up when you have a really large homework assignment? Stress can be periodic or it can also be chronic. This diagram right here shows how there are many branches of the nervous system, but for today we're going to focus on the autonomic nervous system. It controls involuntary functions, so an easy way to think of this is as the automatic nervous system. Under that we have the sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the fight or flight response that we'll talk about in just a moment. And on the other hand, the parasympathetic nervous system is the relaxed rest and digest state. So the coping skills we'll talk about a little bit later will help shift from the sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic nervous system. In moments of intense stress, that fight or flight response is activated, which could be helpful if we were being chased by a bear and needed to run away as fast as possible. However, in today's world, this is activated often for non-life-threatening events. Constant activation of this state has been shown to negatively impact both our physical and our mental health. And this diagram right here shows some of the symptoms of what happens when you're going into that fight or flight response.
Neuroplasticity, rewiring your brain's electric system, training your mind and changing your brain. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize, rewire, and change its physical structure throughout life in response to learning and experiences. The rewiring process, when you learn a new skill or memorize information, your neurons form new, faster connections. This is the same for neuroplasticity in stress management, which works by physically rewiring the brain to handle stress better over time. Neurons that fire together wire together, and when you practice a new skill like deep breathing or mindfulness techniques or repeating positive thoughts, these neurons fire together, over time creating a stronger, more efficient physical connection, resulting in continuous rewiring of the brain's structures that promote healthier automatic responses to stress and manage anxiety. Regular practice strengthens the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for rational thinking, and shrinks or calms the amygdala, which is the brain's fear center, reducing the impact of stress. When you stop using a pathway or a bad habit, the brain eventually stops maintaining it. The path becomes overgrown and hard to find, while the new, heavily used path becomes a default route. Learning a new skill, changing a behavior, or forming a new habit is like walking through tall, thick grass for the first time. It requires effort, focus, and repetition. Think of it as, when I practice gratitude, I'm literally cutting a new, easier pathway through the forest of my mind. The more you repeat a new behavior, the more the path is paved, changing from a dirt trail to a highway. Remember, what fires together, wires together. You can think about it like, I'm practicing this new skill daily so I could turn this challenging dirt path into a highway of calming automatic habit. When you stop using a pathway, the brain eventually stops maintaining it. That path becomes overgrown and hard to find, while the new, heavily used path becomes the default route. Changing pathways can be difficult because the brain defaults to the old highway. It requires conscious effort to steer away from the old fast route onto the new slow one. So it's important to give yourself grace while practicing new habits and reminding yourself that my brain is fighting to take the old familiar route, but I'm actively directing it to this new path.
Before we go into some of the mindfulness skills in more detail, we actually wanted to start with a brief exercise together. There are many different mindfulness exercises we could focus on, but for today we'll just be introducing a few simple ones that can help with stress and emotional overwhelm. So to begin, just take a seat and notice your body for a moment. You don't have to change anything, just notice where you are right now. Then start to focus in on your breath. We're going to do a quick box breathing exercise together. Inhale slowly for 4. Hold for 4. And exhale for 4. And hold again for 4. As you breathe, try to bring your attention back to the present moment instead of everything else going on around you. Even taking 1 minute to slow down your breathing like this can help your nervous system feel calmer and more regulated. So, what actually helps with stress? A lot of the time, stress gets worse when we ignore it, judge ourselves for it, or get stuck overthinking. Skills from mindfulness can help us respond differently to this. One important step is simply noticing what's happening, paying attention to your thoughts, emotions, and body sensations instead of automatically reacting to them. Another skill is putting it into words, like saying, I feel overwhelmed or I feel anxious right now. Research shows that labeling emotions can actually help make them feel more manageable. It's also important to stay present and focus on what you're doing in the moment rather than getting pulled into overthinking the past or future. And finally, trying not to judge your experience, letting feelings be there without criticizing yourself for having them. These skills don't necessarily get rid of stress completely, but they can help you feel more in control and less overwhelmed by it. So, why these skills matter? These skills matter because they can reduce overthinking and rumination, help emotions feel more manageable, and help you stay grounded in the present moment. When you can notice, name, stay present, and not judge your experience, you become less reactive and better able to move through stress instead of getting stuck in it. And from a strength based perspective, the goal isn't to fix you, it's recognizing that you already have the ability to cope. These skills just help you access and use those strengths more effectively. We're going to go into some additional coping skills now.
To break the cycle of stress, we start with core mindfulness skills. First, notice your thoughts and physical sensations. Second, put it in words by labeling the emotion. Third, stay present by focusing on the task right in front of you. And finally, don't judge it. Allowing feelings to exist without self criticism prevents them from multiplying. When we actively practice cognitive reframing, the psychological benefits are profound. It builds emotional resilience, making us less fragile in the face of unexpected hardships. Because we are restructuring our thoughts, we experience reduced rumination and stop replaying worst case scenarios. This shift directly fosters increased empowerment, reminding you that you control your choices. Together, these outcomes culminate in highly effective long term stress management for your daily life. Another coping skill, gratitude practice, builds resilience by retaining your brain's focus. Success depends on specificity, analyzing why you appreciate a detail rather than making a generic list. This intentional habit provides powerful stress management and is clinically proven to improve sleep quality. To build an effective, sustainable gratitude habit, we focus on depth rather than variety by writing a detailed narrative about a single person or moment. We consciously make an effort to acknowledge everyday positive events and minor triumphs, ensuring we routinely include our small wins. Most importantly, we lean into the savoring method, slowing down to spend a full 30 seconds genuinely feeling that appreciation radiate throughout the body to actively reinforce our healthy neural pathways. Finally, please take a moment to look over these additional resources and professional support networks if you would like further guidance on managing your well being. Thank you so much for listening.